So we're running a little bit behind schedule already because we had a few audio issues to take care of this morning, but we're going to try and quickly get things back on track. So I will cut all the welcoming falderall a little bit short this morning and just say thank you all very much for coming. And we want to make this a really fun, informative couple of days. And Suzanne from Columbia College, who is a Lion board member and a professor here and has about 17 other titles, is going to say a couple quick words.
Actually, I'm just going to say one quick thing. Welcome. We're thrilled to have you all here. And we also want to remind people of the hashtag if you're on Twitter and tweeting out. There are a number of folks who want to join us, but for various reasons can't. So that's a really great way, in addition to the live streaming, for people to learn from all of you. And the hashtag, again, is Lion16 on Twitter, so please be using that. Thanks.
And on the same note, we have a group note in the conference blog on the Lion Publishers website. If you go to lionpublishers.com/conference, in the blog section, there's a link to a Google Doc where we can all sort of take notes together. It makes the process a little bit easier rather than trying to follow along with absolutely everything that's going on. There's a Google Doc for today. There'll be another one posted for tomorrow. And you can just start typing away in there. And it works out to be a pretty nice way to share information. And we're going to start sharing that information right now with, this may turn out to be 30 ideas in 30 minutes rather than 40 in 40, but it's basically we want to get people talking about your best idea that you've had over the last year, that you've executed, that you're working on. It can be something business-wise, something about reporting or tech. And I'll quickly share mine to kick things off. And it's just really something to reiterating the idea that putting some care and time and patience into a reporting project can really pay off in a big way. We've been doing some serious investigations and really coming out with not stories all the time, but waiting until we have something really good built up from it. And sometimes, being creatures of the internet, we want to just crank things out and put things out really quickly. Sometimes a little bit of patience can pay off and result in the Attorney General investigating and the County Board of Supervisors changing their public records policies to make them better when they realize that they look like idiots. And that's what we've been doing. So let's see some hands and get the conversation going. Who's got an idea that they want to share? And remember, we're going to vote on these at the end, and whoever has the best idea amongst you all is going to win a $100 gift card. So this is worth something here. So who's got an idea?
Alice Drager, eastlansinginfo.org. We created a map because East Lansing has the problem where there feels like there's no there. So we used Google and created a map, which is a map of our reported stories. And that means that when you go to that map, you can look at the little hovering spot, and it'll tell you what we reported about that. We use it to write about local businesses, history issues, development projects, controversies, whatever it is. So now when people see something new in town, they want to know what's going on, they come to our map, they look for the map, and they see that we reported on it. So it both shows that there's a there, and it shows that we are actually covering the city like nobody else. So it works really great.
Who's got one?
Oops.
I'm Marcy Setlow from the Berkshire Edge in Western Massachusetts, and we have created a calendar which it's taken us a year and a half to develop this calendar. It's completely searchable. You can search events by date, by category, by venue. It's got lots of advertising space. We developed it because we felt that, and it's a WordPress plugin, so we are hoping that some of you might be interested in leasing it from us. The reason that we developed it is that we felt that this could be a completely separate profit center for us, that this makes us really an extremely important resource for the community. We can put events in, and anybody in the public is invited to also put their events in. So it becomes a very complete reflection of what's going on in the community, and it can extend way beyond our regular, our usual reading market, because we're going into, counties that are some distance from us, but people are looking at the calendar. And you can search by, as I said, it's mobile friendly, right? My partner is feeding me lines. So I have it here on a laptop. I would love to show it to anybody who's interested. I have to also thank David Walsh and Kenny Katzgrau for their contribution to creating it. So it's really a first-class plug-in, which I hope will make money for us and perhaps for you as well.
Who's got an idea? I'm going to start picking on you if you don't start raising your hands, so your eyes got one.
Good morning. I'm Jesus Sanchez with the Eastsider LA from LA. And I guess I learned the value of repeating myself. And I know once we publish a story or we see it, we think no one's going to be interested in this again. But I've learned on a Sunday, we have what we call a Sunday review. And it's basically one sentence line, a review of all the major stories that we've published or other publications have published on Sundays. And it's been proven to be a really popular read on a Sunday. People just have more time, and many of our readers only come 2 or 3 times a week. We've also learned the beauty of repeating stories on Twitter several times, features especially, again on weekends, different times of the day and evening. And sometimes we also have roundups of real estate news, restaurant news. We break them up, and when we run them as separates, post them on Twitter and Facebook, and they find new audiences all the time. It's really interesting and easy and a big time saver.
I see your hand up too, Ryan. I'm trying to hide. Well, I'm going to pick on you because you're sitting in the back row, and the sign says don't sit in the back row.
Hey, Stella, I'm Uriah Kaiser from Potomac Local in Virginia, and the best thing my best idea was stop doing things like I did them when I was at a newspaper, because I have to do it the way I did it at a newspaper because that's simply just the way it's done. I learned that I don't have to, waking up every morning, my first thing is, oh my God, what am I going to put on my website today? What content am I going to put on there to provide value for my readers? And how much of that am I going to have to write, and how much time do I have to write that content? And then, oh my God, I have to sell ads. And I realized that, an email from a trusted source about an event or information, that's content, that's good news. People will accept that if I trust the source and my readers trust me. So I'll put that on there. It's a post. On the bottom of each post, I added a button. It says submit news and photos to Potomac Local, because I do have a scanner. I do run cop news. And one of the challenges in my mind was I have to be at every crash scene if I'm going to run a story about a crash. I have to be at every house fire because I have to get that picture, and I have to get the picture of the saved cat and the quote, because that's what my editor wanted from me when I worked at the newspaper. But I can't be everywhere all the time. So that button at the bottom of each post really helped me out. So, and the other thing is, one of the greatest things I did was created a product that worked. Native, for me and my clients, worked. I did something that we would never do at the newspaper. I allowed my news platform to be used for advertising, to promote business, to talk about things in the community, to talk about how a business is helping the community. And that delivered results for my advertisers. And so doing things differently, not the way they were always done at the newspaper, that was my best idea.
I got you.
Hi, I'm Denise Lockwood with the Racine County iNews website. One of what we did was I totally scammed this idea from one of the Lion newsletters, but I kind of took it a little step further. So what we did was we had a game called the Racine County I Spy. And what it was a treasure hunt throughout the city. And what we did was, one of the things that's really unique about my city is that they have a really strong manufacturing history of, it was J.I. Case and S.E. Johnson. And so I kind of felt like we were kind of disconnected from all of these really cool stories in our town. And so what I did was, we had 4 hides, 1 a week, and the medallion was hidden in a public place, but I hid all of the clues in my advertisers' Facebook ads. So I had a whole laundry list I had probably about 23 advertisers. I charged them, it was actually it turned out to be like more of a 6-week kind of run. I charged them $125. We made money, which was awesome. And I had 10,000 page views just on my I Spy page. And then like people were hunting me down for the next clue. And one day, my fiance, Mr. Denise, I call him, we had a little health scare. So I ended up having to take him to the emergency room, and I was a little late in hiding the clue. And people were like, where is the clue? We need this clue. And so I literally hid it in a cemetery in a cannon. I hid it in the police station, and they had Dillinger had done one of his bank robberies in the city of Racine. So the police department had a Tommy gun and a whole display. So I hid the medallion in there. I hid it in the Common Council chambers. Underneath one of the founders of the city is Gilbert Knapp. So I hid it in the mayor's dais right underneath Gilbert Knapp's photo. And people went nuts about this. So we're actually going to do another one of these between Thanksgiving and Christmas to kind of really help out our retailers. So people have to go in stores, and then the business owners can really connect with people around this idea of how you can build community around these games. And it was so much fun to watch people get so excited about history. And like sometimes it would take days, sometimes it would take hours for these people to find the medallion, but they just had so much fun doing it. So that was one of my best ideas this year.
Hi, Sharon from Monroe and Loganville Local News. In trying to promote video, we've got in our ad server, we're using YouTube. We've gone to our police department, and we've also got our sheriff's department, and we've also got Antique Dealer, where we have it's almost like the police one is almost like a Unsolved Mysteries with our cold case, and they pay for the videographer and they pay us to run it online, and it's our cold cases, and we're doing 1 a month, and it's done almost like a TV production. It's just 5 minutes or 3 minutes. And the antique one is where they do, can you guess what it's worth? And like this week, we've got a $10,000 toy on it, and they have to guess what it's worth, then they run to the auction and give the results. So it helps promote the video. They pay for the video, and we get the revenue for running it.
Who's got a quick elevator pitch? What's your 1-minute best idea? I'm going to pick on Matt. Come on, you got something. You got one.
Hi, I'm Steve Beatty, publisher of The Lens in New Orleans and a Lion board member. One thing that we started last year was a speakers bureau. We're actually all pretty interesting people. We're all sexy. Take a look around. And people will pay for our expertise to come and speak to them. And whether that's $50 from a neighborhood organization, or we're fortunate enough to be in a convention town. So large conventions that come to town have lots of money set aside for speakers, and we're happy to relieve them of that money. We have a benefit of being a nonprofit, so they feel better giving us the money. But I don't think that this can apply to everybody. You've got a level of expertise in some of your beats and some of your neighborhoods, and it's kind of a Stuart Smiley moment. You know, you're worth it, damn it. You know, go out there and charge for your services. We've gotten as much as $1,000 for our environmental reporter to go speak to an environmental group that was in town. And last year we made $10,000 off of sending our folks out to speak. So that'll at least keep you in coffee for a while.
Who's got one?
I got one.
All right, Jay, hit us.
Okay, so who in here uses Snapchat for journalism? Right, exactly. Who here knows how to use Snapchat? That's better than I would have thought. So I don't know how to use Snapchat at all. But what we wanted to teach our journalists and ourselves to learn how to use it. So we started out by doing something that we're pretty penetrated into high school sports in our region. So what we did was Snapchat lets you geofence things and create things called filters, which are basically things that lay over the picture that the person that's using Snapchat is taking. So what we did was we created high school football filters we would select a game every week, and then we would work with the school and the booster club to promote that through the PA system, and we would get friendly principals that weren't scared of Snapchat to tell the kids that these funny filters with crazy hats or things that are kind of school spirit stuff would be available at the football games. So it's been a great way for us to do these sponsored filters. They're really cheap to do. We can geofence the football stadium for 3 hours during a Friday night football game. Our logo's on the filter. We're sponsoring the filter. They say our name. And so we're engaging with this really valuable demographic that eventually is going to read news. So it's a long play for us. We want to be in their lives when they're 16. So when they want to read news online, we're their newspaper of record. And it's been a great way to teach us how to navigate Snapchat and learn how to use it in sort of a project-based environment. Really cheap, and it's great PR for the reporters and for the kids and people like it. We're seeing, last week we saw close to, we did one game last week. We had 200 uses of the filter at that game, and close to 10,000 people saw the snaps. It cost us roughly, I think it was $62 for the fencing of that stadium during that 3-hour period, and then the cost of developing the filters, which we are gradually moving in-house. So it's kind of a quick and easy way to use it and sort of distance yourself from your newspaper competition, because I guarantee you the Gannett Daily is not using Snapchat filters on high school football.
And we've got another great idea over here.
I'm Bill Smith from Evanston Now, just up the road a piece here. And what we did this year that was kind of interesting was that we tried to host a PR tips seminar with the local Chamber of Commerce. And the Chamber managed to make a little money off of it by charging people the ridiculous amount of $25 a piece to attend the session. We filled their meeting room, 24 people or so, and I got at least a couple new advertisers out of it, as well as at least a slight bit of improvement in the quality of PR releases that are coming into the shop. So I think we may end up trying to host it ourselves the next year, and but it definitely turned out to be worth the time that it took to put together the presentation and do it.
Thank you. Hey, Kim, you want to talk a little bit about your big news?
Good morning. I'm Kim Clark with Newshawk, and I would say I'm the Vice President of Business Development, so I'm on the advertising side. So I'll talk about that. Yeah, we have to monetize our products, right? So we sit down and we do our budget every year, and we wanted to have a certain percentage growth. So we identified some topics in our community that we felt our readers would be very compelled by, and then we formulated some special sections that we would do throughout the year in order to court some of our larger advertisers for sponsorships. So we started off in January with El Nino preparedness, and we made $20,000 in sponsorships on that. Now, El Nino never hit Santa Barbara, but we were prepared in case it did. And the stories were great, and we had a lot of companies that had put in a lot of time and effort into their employee awareness program, a whole evacuation plan, all of that. So they got to have that featured in the news side, and then they had their logo and their sponsorship. So, and we've got some other special sections throughout the year that we're doing. But just to give you an idea of what this has done for our revenue growth, books. Last year, our special sections were about $15,000. This year, we've already got $70,000 booked, and the year's not over. Just by identifying what is important to our community and what kind of special sections that we can engage people from that sponsorship level, and that kind of ties into the whole native content. It isn't just an ad selling widgets, it's our organization is behind this message or this initiative or what is important to the community, and we want to brand our name with the local online news source to show that this is important to us. So,
Is all media section native? Is it all native content?
no, not all, no. So, there you go.
Who's next? Kelly. Kelly.
Hi, I'm Kelly Gilfillan with Bigger Media. Sorry, Dylan. Last year, well, we all get a lot of press releases, right? And so I was noticing that we had a lot of arts and entertainment press releases, and I just started thinking about, so we did newsletters Monday through Saturday, but we never did them on Sunday. And so basically I just repackaged something that we were already doing, which was a ton of arts stories. And it could be, and it's arts, entertainment, food, anything that's kind of just more lifestyle oriented. And we packaged it as Wilco Arts. Our county is Williamson County, and so we started this, somebody started this Wilco thing a long time ago, so we were playing off of that. And so we started doing a Sunday newsletter. We sold a sponsorship for that. And so all the advertisers who are normally on the news stuff, Monday through Saturday, were not on this. You had to pay extra to be on this. And so we created a special section, but it's a year-long special section. And so we sold sponsors, a sponsorship to that. We ended up, the local Studio 10 for Tennessee Theater is our sponsor now, but we had a restaurant do it. The other theater companies started getting interested in that. Nashville Ballet was interested in it. So it took about 6 months for people to realize what we were doing, and that they wanted to be a part of what we were doing. But it definitely brought in, it was a new revenue source, it was a different stream for the advertisers, and it was really just focusing all the content that we already had. And our writers got to focus away from hard news all the time and started getting to do some features on artists and singers, and they got to go to some shows and cover stuff, and it really kind of gave them a little bit more fun in their job. So it really just paid off all around. It was fun. So we have Wilco Arts on Sunday. And the section's there all the time, but yeah, arts, food, and entertainment, I think is what the tagline is. But generally, all the press releases are so far out from what the events are, it really doesn't matter. And we worked with some people who were putting out press releases like on Monday, and we said, can you start getting us those on Friday, like the farmers market and things like that? And they were more than happy to do it because they were getting promoted. It's really a look at the week ahead of what's going on. Yeah. And I mean, doing it on Friday may actually be a better idea. We just already send 2 newsletters a day. So people might get irritated with 3. Okay.
Thank you. It's not quite an idea, but I want to give our special guests a chance to say hello. We have a contingent of journalists who traveled all the way here from Norway to be with us, and we'd like to welcome them. And here.
Thank you for coming.
Now, I think my best idea was to come here.
Here, here.
Yeah. But as I'm the only one who doesn't publish anything here, I'm a teacher, I think I'll have to hand over the mic to somebody else.
Why are you guys here?
Well, Norway is a country with a lot of local newspapers, and a lot of them are small. They're all on print and all on net. And like everybody else, they're trying to find new business models, new ways to survive or even thrive. And that's why we're here. So now I got exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12 points here, bullet points, telling us a little more of how to get on in an environment that's more or less like yours, financially and editorial.
Thank you very much for making the trip, and we hope you guys get a lot out of this. We all get a lot out of it every year, and we very much want you to be a part of our conversation. Share your ideas as well if you want to jump in. And who's got one? We've got time for a few more.
All right, coming from print, my wife and I have long wondered, how can we actually do what we do in print without spending a lot of money? And I told you yesterday how I hate, editing photos, but we have so many great photographers that do work for us. So we finally came up with an idea to come out with a calendar, a print calendar that we sell. The bands love them because we showcase local and regional artists from across Michigan. We put it out every year, so this year will be our second year. We're going to put out another calendar, and it's beautiful photography. Each month has another band. So the bands love it, they buy it. People love it because they get a chance to actually see some of the artwork throughout the year that we focused on over the years. And in addition to that, this year we're hoping to be able to sell to a sponsor and make a little money on it as well. We made a little money on it last year, and we give some of the money to charity as well. It's a kind of a feel-good thing, and it gives us a chance to sort of put our calendar out there 365 days a year. People can see it when they walk around, and it's been a really successful thing. We're going to keep on doing it for the next year as well.
Hi, everybody. I'm Doug Hardy. I'm with Connecticut News Junkie. We run a political news site. It's a little bit different. But one thing we have learned is that it's really important to diversify your revenue. Make sure. Now, some of you are going to be fine just selling display advertising. But we did that for a while, and we realized we needed a lower tier, an entry price. So we created a directory. And with that directory, they pay a fee for the year, but they get a 25% discount on advertising. And it's working for us. Some of our previous clients are spending more money with us. And this is just one configuration. There's going to be lots of configurations that you guys could work with that could be an incentive to get existing clients to pay a little bit more and give you a little bit more support.
Who's next on the block? Somebody's got to raise their hand. Take one for the team, or I'm going to pick on somebody. What you got going on, Phil?
I'm Phil Walsh with TXK Today, and we've been having a lot of success with some like 5-minute featured videos that we post to Facebook, and just featuring local businesses and make them pay for them, and they get about anywhere from 60 to 100,000 views. Yeah, 3 to 5 minutes, just depending on the business. 60 to 100. That's Facebook views though, so they kind of lie. But we don't tell the businesses that. What's your site again? TXK Today. Tango X-Ray Kilo. How much do you charge? $1,500, but that's kind of hard sometimes. So $700 sometimes, just depending on what I think the business will pay.
How much time and effort do you have to put into producing those?
It's a couple hours of filming and then a couple hours of editing. But I've got quite a bit of experience with video, so. The stories that you're telling, what are they? Just about the business and, a new business opening in town and, a tour of the facility and a little interview with the owners. And then, head here. She's the one. I'm not on video. She's on video. So. Do you post them on your site as well, or just on Facebook? Sir? Do you post them on your own site as well? No, we put them on Facebook and then YouTube, and then we'll do a story on our site too. But pretty much all the views are on Facebook. Do you boost it on Facebook? No, we usually don't. They're popular enough that.
How long does this stay up?
Facebook stays up. forever, but it gets pushed down the page.
Thanks, Field. Who's got one? You got one, don't you?
I'm going to remain seated because I have my laptop on me. I'm Julian from Banana Tree News in Glen Rock, New Jersey. We are a hyper-local news website for Glen Rock. Basically, what we're trying to do is I'm trying to get the sponsor pages for the different local businesses. Our Kilroy's Wonder Market used to give, it's their 100th anniversary, and we're giving out recipes and having them sponsor the page. In addition, we're hosting events that will show like the 100th anniversary of Kilroy's. We are hosting events like a Sustain Local progressive dinner, things to that effect, to try to get my name out. I have been begged to reopen our Chamber of Commerce, which I don't know if that's a good idea or not, to get my name out. But that's what I'm working on, is just building our name with different things to this effect.
And maybe one more. I'm going to pick on Tripp because he's hiding over here in the corner. He's trying to escape this.
Just like money making propositions, that kind of thing?
Your best idea, money, reporting, tech, whatever it is. What have you done this year that kicks ass?
Well, we... Oh, there you go. All right. So we're a statewide publication. We're digital first and have relationships with newspapers around the state. I'm in New Mexico. And we have sort of a focus on the legislative session. So the last 2 years, and we'll do it a third year, we've published a 40-page special edition, primarily on ethics and on openness and campaign finance. And we've generally made around $30,000 in sponsorships. If anybody actually covers the legislature and they have relationships with print partners, some of these guys are really looking for legislative coverage. So that's something to think about, actually, where you are, if you're doing statewide coverage.
Thank you. One over here.
Bob Conrad with thisisreno.com. One thing we did this last year was we got together with a lot of the other local independent publications, either online or in print, and we held what was called the Reno Independent Media Forum. And it was basically a way for the local indies to get together and talk about their challenges, how audiences could become more engaged with them, and any other issues that members of the audience wanted to hear from. So it was a good way for the local indies to get together and kind of become more of a united front, I guess, for publishing in the Reno market. So it was successful. We raised a little bit of money from the forum to donate to some nonprofits.
All right, I'll come up with another one. My contact at this company probably will be besieged by this, but the Weather Channel is eager to have local coverage and is willing to pay for it, we found. So, I mean, who has any kind of big storm or flood or snow? And it's not just weather stories they're looking for. If you go there, they're actually producing some pretty good news that has even the most tenuous grip. So that's just one of the national outlets that you can approach. A lot of, if you can kind of become a known bureau for some of the national folks that might come into your area. I mean, it's always a disaster when the New York Times or the Washington Post parachutes into your area and they can't, as soon as they spell a county wrong or get the wrong part of town, they lose all their credibility. So if there's any way you can establish a relationship to say, if you need somebody, we're here for you, kind of as a freelance bureau. I call up folks when there's the big stories coming into town or you feel like there's a big story. It's cold call, the same way you might call up an advertiser. You call up a news outlet and say, "Can we lend a hand?" And we're cheap, but definitely put a value on the reporting that you do. She wants to know how we valued it. I mean, we've gotten for one lengthy story, a Katrina anniversary story, we were paid $5,000 from one news outlet. I won't tell you which news outlet that was because you definitely will all call them. But that's an extreme case that we brought a level of expertise and familiarity that they valued. $1,000 for some of these national outfits isn't an unreasonable fee, or $500. A lot of them have established day rates, so you just figure out and you can make friends with people at these outlets with a cold call and figure out what their day rate is. The family of the Dallas shooter lived in Mississippi, and the Washington Post called me looking for a freelancer, and they were willing to pay $400 just for somebody to go over there and try to knock on the door and get some comment. And then if they got comment and if they helped produce a story, they would get more than that. So even though they're print newspapers, they still have money to spend.
Traven?
I'm Traven Rice, co-founder of The Lowdown. We're based out of Lower Manhattan in New York City. And I can't say it's a great idea yet because we haven't completed it, but we are currently working with CUNY graduate journalism students who are in a class specifically devoted to social video. And so they're going to come up with a bunch of social video content based on what we're already covering, different topics. I mean, hopefully around a minute, specifically to enhance, our coverage that will just go out on all of our social platforms. So, for example, we have an ongoing project on local business survival, so we could do business profiles, and that could be an interview. We have a popular feature called My Lower East Side, and that's just a Lower East Side resident or person that works or lives there. So that could be an interview, a brief interview, based on their favorite places in the neighborhood. We have a lot of ongoing coverage that we could use, just little video pieces to go take a look at what a development, what's happening in the neighborhood, just to add the visual to it. Yes, definitely. Specifically, for example, Instagram, they're doing like 15-second videos, and I've been seeing series that way. So you can do 15 seconds, which sounds short, but you can do a continuous topic, in a really creative way that's going to get people's attention online. And then a little, obviously there's Facebook Live now, but we're talking about just short little, social things that we can push out that are going to point you to our bigger, broader coverage.
Yes, I'm one of the Norwegians. My name
never would have guessed.
Yeah, would never have guessed. My name is actually Roar, so I'm very happy to be here together with all the Lions. I'm the chair of an organization that is very similar to Lion. We are organizing 110 different newspapers. All of them are online, and also have printed editions. What we've been working with the last years is how we can actually not take our closeness to the society for granted. How can we make that better and more sustainable for the future? So we actually looked into different kind of projects. One, to make more people vote. That actually had the result that more people were voting after this campaign. We also kind of reinvented public journalism in Norway in a way that was not expensive, because, as you all know, it was quite expensive to do. And we succeeded in that, and it ended up in a book, which I wrote. But right now, and she's a little shy to say that, so I'm saying that and ask her afterwards. We're doing a project on how to make the volunteer work more, to show it more, and have a focus on what people are doing voluntarily, to make them proud and such. We have four newspapers working especially on that, and the newspaper where she is from, they actually had a project this year trying to figure out how much money is that worth. and they will summarize everything, and they make people quite proud, and they make the politicians quite embarrassed, because some of these things should have been actually been done by the community. But it's connecting the newspaper to its readers in a very good way. So there are some very good lessons to be found in public journalism, even though it was expensive once. But
thank you. I think we have time for one more quick one.
Hello, everyone. I'm Susan Larson of Fredericksburg Today in Fredericksburg, Virginia. I've started a partnership with B101.5 FM radio. I'm already doing a weekend calendar and a monthly calendar of events, and the radio is now having me live on the air every Friday morning at 7:35 doing the Be Seen Weekend Planner. That's expanding. I started doing that as brand recognition because I'm new to Fredericksburg, wanted to get the name out. We are now working on monetizing that. The plan is that live broadcast, and my background is radio, so I have that already, but that live broadcast will be taped and rebroadcast 2 other times on Friday. The radio station is looking for a sponsor to sponsor that, and then I will also then share that sponsorship and the Be Seen print version that I've published on Fredericksburg Today via social media. So the package would be for the sponsor. They get to have their name as the sponsor on air 3 times on Friday, and they also get to have their sponsorship mentioned on the website Fredericksburg Today and then through the media. And it's just monetizing something I'm already doing and becoming well known for in the area is the events calendar. So if you have a chance to partner with the radio station, that might be an opportunity for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. And we do this just to kind of set the tone for the entire conference. It's all about everybody pitching their ideas into the mix. But speaking of sponsors, right now it's time to show one of our conference sponsors a little bit of recognition. Scott Barnett from Busyhood is going to tell us a little bit about what he's up to.
Thanks, and hi everybody. I'm Scott from Busyhood. We're based in New Jersey. For those of you that were here last night, the sponsors had a few minutes to introduce ourselves, so some of you already know a little bit about us. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about some specific things that we talked about at a high level last night. First off, Busyhood is a technology company. We provide an online platform, and we're actually right in the midst of rebranding ourselves. So we didn't bring a lot of great information here at the conference to take away, but you'll see it on our site very soon. We're focused on what we call inbound marketing for mom and pop businesses. And the idea is relatively simple, although nobody's been able to figure it out yet. How does a mom and pop actually engage with the customers in their community that they want to have come in and keep them in business? And there's lots of sites out there, right? Lots of technology companies that claim that they can do this. And we've been doing this now for several years. We came to our first Lion conference last year, and we've learned a ton from a lot of the people in this room and some of the folks who unfortunately couldn't make it. But one of the things that we figured out, or we think we figured out, is that there needs to be a hub that runs continuously in a local community to allow these mom and pops to do what they need to do. Their websites aren't going to necessarily be authoritative unless they put a lot of money into it, and most of these mom and pops can't afford to do that. So they need some place to go where they can be authoritative, and we believe that place is the local publishing website. We also believe that the connection between the consumer, the reader in your case, and the mom and pop needs to be something that also happens on a continuous basis. So this will probably sound controversial, or maybe not, but when you do things like posting your stories on Facebook or on Twitter or Snapchat, and these are all fantastic vehicles, and we highly recommend people use all of them, but you have to realize that anything you do that takes people off your site reduces your ability to. One of the things we'd like to hear more in this room is how people can engage more with you and your readers and your businesses on your website. And it's hard. It's really hard. And we've been working for the last year to try to figure this out. And we haven't totally figured it out yet, but we're getting closer. And by next year, I'm pretty sure we're going to be there. So we'll have a lot of success stories next year to share with you. But that to me is the biggest challenge that you all need to figure out. And advertising is awesome. We also don't think you should stop doing any advertising. It generates most of the revenue for everyone in this room. And thinking differently doesn't mean hitching your wagon only on the next social media platform that comes down the road. So think about how you can be a marketplace of your own. You can be a platform of your own. And that's the sales pitch here is that's what we're trying to do is we are the tech that helps you be that marketplace. So what I'd like you all to think about is how do you want to become a platform? What things do you think you need to be a platform? And the biggest thing I want to share with you is that anyone who came last year walked away saying, oh yeah, Scott and Busyhood, those are the business directory guys. And a business directory is important, but it's not sufficient. A business directory by itself is basically a poster that sits out on your site that no one's going to go to on a regular basis. What people do today is they search. They're looking for things. So you want to have an authoritative search engine so when people are looking for things near them, they can find it on your site. Okay, and you have to have a business directory to do that properly. So without a business directory, you can't really be authoritative with search. But if all you have is a business directory and you think that's going to bring in lots of revenue, we have learned beyond a shadow of a doubt that that is not true. And a lot of good people told me that last year in this room, and now we believe you. So last point, my last sales pitch, I mentioned it last night, blog.busyhood.com. There's a new post on there, the 10 things that we've learned since Lion 2015. I would love to get your feedback on that, whether you want to leave it right there on the post or you want to tell me here or you want to email me afterward. Tell me if you agree, you disagree. We've learned so much from all of you and it's helped us make our product better and we really want to learn even more going forward for the next year. So thanks very much for having us here.